In honor of Women's History Month, we've been talking with female leaders in sports, politics, business, and entertainment. And this morning, we are focused.
Every Friday during Women's History Month.
All month long, we've been celebrating Women's History Month by talking with female leaders in sports, politics, business, and entertainment. And this morning,
black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody.
We are in a state of emergency.
Prejudice. Wrote a song about it? Like to hear it? Here it go. Free your mind.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
I've been abused, I've been so misused, I won't be accused, I'm so black and blue, I've been through rejection for my reflection, so much depression, I was changing young, so many had come and gone, tried to block me from the throne, but I kept pushing on and I know, treated like a criminal, though I done nothing wrong, and I felt so alone, still I had to be strong.
This is Palmetto Star, but you can call me Prophet. Prophet wrote it, the prophet of black supremacy, and author of 3 steps to end racism right now.
If the world practiced these 3 steps, what would it look like?
Black empowerment, black rulership. The ability to define one's own reality is freedom. 3 steps to end racism right now is freedom in real time.
Why is racism trending?
When hasn't racism been trending in America? It is built off of racism. Everything about America is racist. We have never experienced the world without the shadow of racism, without the terrorism of racism, without the threat of racist intentions. We have never experienced that.
we want to make sure that we're not just working to be first, but we're working to be right. A lot of times there are situations when things are just happening so fast. It's always important to be fast, but we always want to be right.
I ordered this book, God is on Trial. I ordered this book from Amazon, and I must say I've read it. It's very well written, very thought-provoking. And so, sisters and brothers like Alberta Parrish, again, God is on Trial. It is a provocative, thought-provoking, very real and honest point of view regarding the gods of major religions or of Abrahamic religions, and why those of us who follow these belief systems should be asking the same kind of questions instead of just blindly accepting and following.
This message. Hey, my brother, you know I had to call you and thank you personally again. I cannot describe to you how happy I was to meet you in person, finally. That was just like amazing.
Body Salon and Wellness Spa is located in the historical area of East Point, Atlanta. This is a center for cultural, family-oriented community commencement, and just couldn't have chosen a better place for the Colored Only Cafe to make its debut. Very proud that brother Palmetto Star has hooked me up with this opportunity, and they've allowed me to be the vending. I right now have the sole vending contract with this wonderful establishment. So excited. All of my Philadelphians, it feels like home. All of my Atlantic, you already know. All of my ATLians, you already know it's home. But definitely, it has a northeast type of vibe. So please come down and enjoy. We are just here on the weekends right now, and we are Friday and Sundays. But every weekend, you can expect a great time, cultural engagement, awesome meals dripping in melanin. So come on down and enjoy.
Hey, Uma! Not to be popular. It's just I'm inspired by my brother, that reality Temple's brother, the most powerful voice on the internet. That reality Angel Snubbing Up 7. That's right, brother. I'm calling you out, brother. I'm building you. I'm putting you out there, brother. I'm shouting you out. That's my inspiration.
My brother Angel Snubbing Up 7 at the Reality's Temple. And to give props to him, because I listened to all of Angel Snubbing Up 7's videos. I think that he comes from a different angle, and there's a powerful message in a lot of the videos that he put out, and I try to catch all of them. I look at him as a free thinker and a person that's willing to challenge those of which he don't agree with or which he may think differently from, and I really respect him for that. He's challenged KNBS, and he has also challenged the black supremacy movement as well. And I have nothing against that, because that which cannot be challenged cannot stand and will not stand and will not survive the test of time. How many challenges we can withstand will determine how long we will be able to stand.
Peace, prayer, and knowledge.
I'm Soul Sister J.
I'm Soul Sister D.
And I just wanted to say thank you for all the people who helped to the medical fundraiser for my uncle Taalik. And it has meant so much to us that you would help, because without you guys, his life would not be possible and we would not be with him today right now. And I just want to say, for all of you that helped and that donated, I would really like to give a big thanks, and I hope that I can meet you one day and say thank you in person. I love you guys, and next.
To ring out in perfect harmony, Terry Ellis becomes the first of the divas to offer the world her singular sound. And she does just that on Southern Gal.
Things on paper that say, if you do this, we're going to punish you by incarcerating you, and you break them and you're dumb enough to get caught, then you're just dumb.
All right. Shout out to Reality's Temple in the building. Well, just for myself, I got to get him on here, man. You talk about somebody polarizing. Whoa. that brother is I'll leave that alone. Shout out to the brother though, just
anyway, I'm done. So, don't expect me to be on YouTube all the time, and because but none of you are helping me out. I have to go to work every day. I have to go to work, to make money, and none of y'all are dropping me $5 or nothing in my Cash App or nothing. So don't expect me to come on here making videos all the time, because that's not gonna happen. Like I said, it takes a lot of energy to come on here and talk and make videos and put together, presentations, and all of that take time and energy. I mean, don't expect me to come on here talking and carrying on.
God damn. Ate all my damn food up. Crack-headed monkeys. Yeah. This SNIFFY. You know who this is, man. You got caller ID. Hey, don't y'all hate to call people? They talk, who is it? And they got caller ID. You know who it is. You got caller ID, Negro. God damn, crazy. Where's Smelly D at?
As far as that goes, I mean,
you know I still love you, baby.
And I'm here in St. Louis.
And it'll never change.
I
want nobody but you. I want nobody.
Gomane. Assemble the people, Gomane. We will not be defeated by witch doctors' illusions.
Self, and you don't realize it. You don't realize it that God has been imprisoned. The devil was able to imprison God. So right inside your own self, your God self has been imprisoned, and you have a false sense of self running rampant inside the temple. This is why, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We have to bring reality's temple here on earth. Reality's temple here on earth. Because
yes, sir.
We have to realize the enemy is running rampant inside this temple.
I stand for nature. I stand for
anything that is right. I'm pro-righteous, not pro-black. I am pro-righteous and not pro-black. So do your thing.
And that is Brother Taalik from the Reality Temples on Earth channel. And if you get a chance to subscribe, please do subscribe to his channel. He's a good brother. You know, he's doing good work, and he wants to do good constructive things. He has good information to provide. So please do check out his channel if you get a chance.
My black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody.
In a state of emergency. Prejudice. Wrote a song about it? Like to hear it? Here it go. Free your mind.
I keep it real.
What, dear? Because I keeps it real like that.
I keeps it real.
I'm not going to mention the person's name, and those who may be familiar, you can probably guess, but since they did not mention my name, I'm not going to mention their name, and we are family. And so, but I feel as though I have to respond to this because they made a video in the public speaking on this, so I feel as though I have to talk in defense of my position. Sometimes we have to be careful about what we say and do, especially when it comes to people we say that we care about, because I'm not here, and I'm very sure their intent was not to hurt my feelings, which they didn't. We have a right to our opinion. I think that such a talk should be done in private. Really, you know, some things should be done in private. And a lot of the things, especially when it comes to my personal life and what I do, that's none of your damn business. I don't put all my personal life. And it's already bad enough. The little stuff that these trolls and other idiots know about me, you know, they try to flip and they try to flip it and around and try to hurt you, make mockery of and things of this nature. So the less they know, the better. So it's none of your business. Just like my medical condition. It's really none of your damn business. I didn't have to tell nobody a damn thing. It's none of your business. And then whatever little they know, it's a clown. He took a picture of me laying in the hospital bed and put makeup on me and made me look gay, and you know, because he don't like me. You know, silly people. That's what they do. And of course, I knew this before I put the picture out there. But hey, you know, that don't bother me. What they say in Hollywood, all publicity is good publicity. And guess what? You ain't stopped a damn thing. Matter of fact, when this clown talks about me, that's where he gets the majority of his views. Is when he talk about me. So more power to you. It don't stop. It hasn't stopped anything. It don't do nothing. I'm not embarrassed. It don't bother me. when you come out in the public forum, you have to take the bad with the good. So what? Long as you don't put your hands on me. Try to put your hands on me, you're going to find out exactly where I stand. It's a whole different ball game. Now, so there's another old saying that we need to look before we leap. Sometimes we act, sometimes we act out of emotion. And that's a bad thing, because being emotional causes bad decisions that can hurt your relationship with others. In fact, it could probably even get you killed, or you can get somebody else killed. So we need to look before we leap and stop being so emotional. That's one of our problems that I find in the soul community, is that we are very, very emotional, and we can become very emotional almost over nothing. I expect you to be emotional over certain serious topics. Some of us, like these men, Sister Ingrid, these men are so immature and emotional. It's mind-boggling. I've never been around men like this all my life. These men on social media is the most whinest, crybabies, emotional. They talk about women are emotional. No. These men on social media that I have met are the most, they cry almost on almost anything. They start crying. I've never been around so-called men like this. And some of them are got age on. They 30, 45, 50. Like, damn. Crybabies, whiners. Because I don't want to be an African. I don't want to be no damn African. He don't want to be no African. I'm like, what the hell wrong with him? Okay. But they do that. I got a brother, and it was a sister talking about him, and I didn't say nothing. I was just like, sort of concurring with the sister, and actually he was too, but he didn't like the fact that I was, I guess helping her or whatever, and he crying like a baby. I didn't even say nothing about you, sir. That was that woman. Well, what they say, you was, what's that word they have? You was in agreement with it, whatever. There's a word for it that they use. But anyway, he said basically like I was in agreement with. Hell, you was in agreement with me.
What he said, you was co-sign?
Yeah, co-sign. That's the word. Yeah, co-sign. He said I was co-signing. Sir, you was co-signing yourself in the video. You was co-signing yourself. But he was angry at me because he said I was co-signing her, and they don't like each other. I don't have nothing to do with y'all relationship.
Right. I was gonna say, what they got to do with you?
They don't have nothing to do with me. But anyway, he cried. That happened like 2 years ago or whatever, maybe longer. He's still upset, still crying over it. I don't get it. But what bothers me is when accusations are directed toward me that is not true. Now, from my enemies, that's expected for them to lie and deceive. I expect that from them. But from somebody that you allow to get close to you and you trust them, it's a hurtful thing that they will come out and make accusations about you that is not true. Sister Ingrid is here. She can bear witness and verify. She has an application where only thing she needs is your name and then whatever, and she can look up all this information on your happy ass.
Right.
And she did that. I wanted her to do that with me. I gave her the information she needed. She went and then found out everything that you would want to know. And there was I think it was 2013, 2014, I think it was 2013. You had somebody that was telling a lie on me that actually had the police looking for me based on their lie. Now the problem is, and I heard that they was looking for me. This woman accused me of stalking and stealing from her. I wasn't even nowhere around. I wasn't even in town. And the police come looking for me based on a lie. They're not going to find me because I'm on the road 800 thousands of miles away. And they never did have no contact with me because I was out on the road for months. For 20-some days out the month. At that time, I only got 3 days off a month. But I'm stalking people. And see, that can cause me serious harm.
Yes, sir.
When people direct false accusations towards you and lies, it can cause people to get hurt. So look, to make a long story short, I have been accused of downplaying sexual abuse against women and children. I also have been accused of blocking this person for some reason. I have no reason to block this person. We are close. We're like family. Why would I block you? I don't control YouTube. YouTube is messed up. Some of my channels, when I'm on another channel trying to comment, I can't even go in on the channel. I don't know what's up with that. I can't explain that. That's a YouTube thing. There's no reason for me to block you. Why are you thinking that way? I do not downplay trauma. I do not downplay hurt. Now look, let me get another swig before we go. My first experience with trauma, I watched my mother get beat up by my daddy. That was my first experience with trauma. It's a hurtful thing to watch your daddy beat up on your mama. And of course, being a little child, and I was closer to my mama, I did everything I could to help my mama fight. To hell with daddy.
Come on.
All of us. It was, by that time, it was like 3 of us. I don't know how old we was, but you know, we was very small. But we took our little fist and was hitting my daddy. Leave my mama alone. Leave my mama alone. You know how some of y'all probably done it too. You know, leave my mama alone. You think that's not traumatic for me? And maybe that might be some of the reason why I go so hard on black men, from my experience to watch my father beat up my mama. It might have something to do with it. But the main reason I go ballistic on soul brothers, because y'all a piece of doo-doo. You're a bunch of cowards. You're lazy. You're trifling. You want unearned credit for doing nothing. You don't accomplish nothing. You're a whoremonger. You want all these titles. You want all these titles and you ain't earned none of them. That's why I go hard on you. Because you make me look bad. Because if we had implemented the Mississippi campaign the last 3 years, or if we had a Mississippi campaign way back in 1995 during the Million Man March, can you imagine where we would be right now? Instead of in the same spot, what we gonna do? False promises and things of this nature and all this feel-good rhetoric. beautiful speeches. I don't give a damn about your pretty talk. That don't put no food in my belly. All this pretty talk we do on YouTube, how would that help George Floyd when that Peckerwood had his knee in that man's neck? You know what would have helped George Floyd? Somebody ran out there and helped him. That's what would help George Floyd.
Instead of standing there taping him, while he getting
Yeah, right. That's what would have helped him. Not no pretty ass speeches. And guess what? One of the last words that came from George Floyd's mouth before he died, it wasn't God, it wasn't Allah, it wasn't Jesus. He said, "Mama."
Mama.
Yeah. He called, and he knew his mama was gone. But he still cried out for mama.
Right. Come on.
Don't tell me about, I don't have no, I downplay trauma. I understand what trauma is, but you got to learn something, understand something. We're going to keep rolling with this talk. The second problem, my second experience with trauma was just being black, having dark skin. My mama, who was darker than me, used to call me names, you black this. But see, I understood as I grew up, I began to understand the reason why she hated me and was making mockery of me was because I looked like my damn daddy. That was her abuser. And she took it out on me. I didn't understand that. She going through her own hell, her own trauma. Now, can you imagine this man beating up on you? Now, which my mama ain't no punk. Because if my daddy gave her a black eye, he got a black eye too. My mama wasn't no punk. But as she got older, she couldn't fight. She couldn't do that no more like she used to.
Right.
But here I am, her son, and I look like this piece of trash that she was fighting all the time. Now, why did my mother go accept and tolerate all this abuse? Because she just didn't have her options was limited. Because she was in a position where, look, this was an older man, and she gonna try to use him to get her off the slave plantation, which was her mom and daddy house, where she actually had to pick cotton every damn day. And you had to pick a certain amount of pounds a day. Otherwise, they get on your case. Well, you didn't pick your cotton the way you're supposed to. I guess that means you don't eat, like the rest of us. That's the kind of situation she was in. And her siblings, many of them, her brothers, a lot of them found jobs in factories or go to the service. She had a sister that just got sick of it, and she just went to New York. The hell with it, I'm gone. They got tired of working, picking cotton. So my mother went to these older men as a means to try to get off the slave plantation. She didn't know. She did the best she could, her ability. But unfortunately, some of these men was abusive. And so here I am, a child, and not only my mother, but other people too, making mockery of you because of your skin color. Now here I am, a little boy. I don't have no understanding. Why are they doing this? What's wrong with my skin color? All this is going through my mind. Even my mama hate my skin color. What's wrong with me? It got to the point where I wanted to take real bleach that you use on your floor and put it on my skin to try to lighten my skin up as a child.
Talk about trauma.
Trauma. Don't tell me that I downplay trauma. I know what it is. I suffer it just like anybody else in this country. The teachings of Elijah Muhammad stopped me from looking towards a bottle of bleach to lighten up my skin. Those teachings made me love black, and I learned how to defend black. Because when James Brown sung that song, he said, black is beautiful. Didn't say brown. He said, black. Black is it. Dark, black. Nation of Islam teaching taught me how to learn how to love my skin color. And the sad thing about it is, many of y'all right now, you won't admit it, but you don't like black either. What if these sisters behind me, what if they was as black? What if they was as black as their clothes? You really wouldn't like them because in your mind, you still don't really love black the way you claim. When I was in the Nation of Islam, I saw two brothers having a little fun going back and forth with each other. And one of the brothers said, at least I'm not as black as you are. Not in a good way.
As if that was a bad thing.
It's a bad thing. Now here we are in a building designed to teach us how to love black, and it still haven't permeated into these men's minds. They still have a hatred for dark skin. And maybe that's another reason why you don't want to listen to Angel Snuffing Up 7. If a lighter skinned brother was saying the same thing, you probably accept it more, but you don't like black. And see, black reminds you of nigger, and a nigger can't tell me nothing. That's what I say, sister. I'm not done with my trauma. So the next thing on the agenda, I have to deal with bullies. I never did nothing to nobody. I'm just living my life trying to have fun. There's always somebody around to come around and pick on me because I weigh a little or nothing. And they see that you weak. I'm nothing but skin and bone. And so it even got to the point. It was a girl that I really, really liked since the 3rd grade. And I think I was a sophomore. I think I was a sophomore in high school. And this guy, this piece of trash had been bullying me for a long time and kept bullying me. I'm trying to talk to this girl. We was in high school by this time. He gonna come and put his arm around me, talking about I'm his girlfriend. And I'm trying to talk to this girl that I like. Talking about, he's my baby. This my woman. How does that make me look? And how does that make me look in front of her? And I'm scared to death of this man shaking him in my boots. And it's embarrassing that he would do something like this to me in front of the girl that I like. I mean, what do that make me look like in front of her? But I can't help it because I'm scared. I'm scared to death of this man, Sister Ingrid.
Wow.
I'm scared to death. You think that's not traumatic? I flunked my sophomore year of school because of fear, because of him. They allowed me to go to my junior year, but I had to take up classes to make up for where I failed in my sophomore year. And then the second half of the year, I was able to get back with everybody else and graduate on time. You think that's not traumatic for me? And I'm still traumatized by that.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you how I dealt with that in just a few minutes here. Now, my next experience with trauma is incarceration. I was unjustly placed in a mental facility for 10 years. Why don't you try that for a change? Here I am. I barely even had a traffic ticket in my life. And now I'm laying around with pedophiles and rapists and murderers, drug dealers, gang members, whatever you can think of, I was there with these people. You think that's not traumatic to know that I'm laying around in this place and don't deserve to be here? Even if you had my records. My records, these pieces of trash bastards they wrote, "This man is not dangerous." They never said I was dangerous, except when they went to court and told the judge a lie. Well, if you let him go, he's dangerous. How the hell I'm not dangerous while I'm incarcerated, but then if you let me go, I'm dangerous? We're dealing with some evil, wicked people in this world. You just don't know. I did not understand how evil and wicked Caucasian people are until I got in this situation. They are some devious, wicked, deceitful people. Trifling. They really hate black folks, for real. Man, a lot of them do. And they use their position as a judge, as a police officer. They use their position as a teacher. They use their position. That's what makes them a racist, because they are in positions to cause you, due to your race, problems. Black people cannot be racist. I cannot throw these suckers in jail like that. Well, what about a black judge? The black judge is under the jurisdiction of white folks. The black judge can throw you in jail, and them crackers can get you right back out, because he don't run nothing. So why don't you try watching your mama get beat up? Why don't you try living in a world where everybody hates your skin color and you bullied and you unjustly incarcerated? That's not sexual abuse. What are we, in some kind of competition over whose abuse is most traumatic? Abuse and trauma is traumatic. It don't make no difference. I'm not in competition with nobody. So I said, and this is where the conflict began, I said the ultimate solution is change of environment. And I talked about the Mississippi campaign. Changing the environment, because the environment is what caused all these different things. All environments don't produce this. I saw a village in Africa. I think it was in Africa, but it was this tribe, and you could not tell who was who. They had a rich class, middle class, and a poor. You couldn't tell who was who. Everybody lived in the same huts. Everybody was eating the same food, but they had these class systems. You couldn't tell who was the leaders. The leaders was the same as anybody else. They did not have no problems with bullying, pedophilia, skin color, and all the things that we deal with in their environment. So that's what I'm telling you. You can put what you want to do is put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. You living in a septic tank. If you fall in pee-pee and doo-doo, pee-pee and doo-doo is going to get on you. It's simple as that. We live in pee-pee and doo-doo. We live in a septic tank. The only thing that can clean you up is you got to get out of it. As long as you stay in it, what's the sense of taking a bath just to get dumped back into pee-pee and doo-doo? It's not going to work. You got to change. You got to clean. You got to get out of it. That's your only real solution. All these other things talk about people going to therapy and whatever. Those are temporary good solutions. But the trauma gonna always be there. You're gonna have that the rest of your life. Also, the new generation will be affected because you having babies in a damn septic tank. So as soon as the baby come out the mama's womb, the baby fall right in the pee-pee and doo-doo with you.
Right.
Now, using George Floyd as an example, his parents knew the kind of environment that they lived in, but they chose to have babies. So it should be no shock that their baby end up with a peckerwood knee in his neck. It shouldn't be a shock because that's what happens here. We've been going through this crap. We've been going through this crap for 500 years. Yeah. Forever.
That's right. It should not have been a shock.
It shouldn't be a shock.
It's not a shock to me. It's just a matter of when it's gonna
happen. Right. It's a matter of when it's gonna happen. Now, some of us, we luck out, might not go through stuff like that.
It missed you, and it gets the next one next in line.
Right. Because there's a lot of things that don't affect me, but I know it can happen. So it's about the environment, changing the environment, getting up out of the septic tank. That is the real and best solution for this problem, long term. Anything else is short term. And we've been dealing with this short term. We use our money to pretend like we don't have a problem in this country. We use our fame. We use our drugs. We use all these different forms of escapism to pretend like like pee-pee and doo-doo is not on us. It don't work. It has not worked.
And it ain't gonna work.
It's never gonna work.
Never gonna work.
So I know about trauma. I know about abuse. I'm a victim myself. We as a people are victimized going on 500 years. Nobody's trauma is greater or better than nobody else. And it's all caused by this environment. And until we change the environment, it's not going to stop. So I asked the person who's telling me I downplay trauma, what is your solution? What you going to do about it? What do you expect? They tell me what you going to do. I'm telling you what to do. You need to change. Get the hell out the damn cesspool. Get the hell out the toilet bowl. That's your real solution. Until then, you warn your children. See, that's one thing we don't do a lot. We don't warn our children about the danger, the seriousness of the environment that we live in. Even animals do it. Animals teach their babies, that baby gazelle. See those lions? Stay the hell away from them. That's the enemy. Don't go nowhere near that. They teach their babies how to survive. We don't teach our children how to survive, and we don't give them no tools how to survive. They just out here, and the lion is just waiting to pounce. And they fall prey, like George Floyd and Sean Bell. And the list goes on and on. I was traumatized. Don't you think it's traumatic for me when I joined the Nation of Islam under Louis Farrakhan? It's traumatic for me to find out that this man was full of doo-doo. It's a hurtful thing.
Yes, sir.
I gave my time, my effort, everything I was, and the only thing he was and is today, nothing about praise and money and getting some booty. That's all he ever was about. Now they calling him the Christ.
The what?
The Christ. The modern day Jesus.
Oh, wow.
And the frosting on the cake is that this man, when my uncle died, wouldn't even acknowledge didn't send us a condolence letter, a card, or email, or nothing. And my people gave this man 30, almost 40 years of their lives. You want me to keep telling me? You want me to keep telling you about my trauma that I got to go through with? I have to deal with women that might want me just for my money. What I can do for them, what I can give them. They don't love me. They don't care about me. And I have been used that way. I have been used to make an ex-boyfriend jealous. Used because I can buy, give me your credit card. Now, when it comes to my money, that's sort of funny. Exploitation. So I should feel funny about any woman that I deal with because of some women in the past that had a questionable agenda. Now look, the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry, since 2007, I focus on self-development, changing ourselves to better ourselves so that we can be liberated. That's my focus, because it makes no sense for you to gain liberation and you still a Negro, the N-word.
Come on.
Because that's not real liberation. Because to become liberated and you continue to be the trash that you was, it defeats the premise of being liberated.
Right.
So that's my focus. And since that's my focus, I'm changing our environment. We who enter the new reality, we're going to be messed up because we came out of the trash can. But we putting our babies in a better reality. They don't have to experience the horror and the trauma that we suffered. After all of us die out and we put them in a better place, they won't have to experience and go through it. They won't even know what the word nigga is. I heard about that. What is that? They don't even know what it is. What is white supremacy? They won't know none of that stuff. It's over. We put them in another place. All these profane words that we use, they don't need all that. They won't know none of that stuff. What is it? Never heard of it. What you talking about? Oh, somebody said, well, that was our people when they was in the trash can. when they was in the filth. When our people was stinking, when we was rotten. Oh, that's what that's about. See, this is how I saw. See, some of us, we simmer in our trauma. And that's where you make your mistake. And I learned this. I can't sit around here and simmer. Oh, they talk about my black skin. Oh, my daddy beat my mama when I was little. That man bullied me. I was incarcerated. I talk about that stuff a little taste. I'm not going to simmer in that. You hear me talk about it a little bit now and then, but I'm not going to simmer in that. What I've learned how to do, what can I do to solve the hurt? Well, like I told you, I learned how to love my black skin. That solved that trauma. It's still here, but I know how to deal with it now because I love my black skin. My bully problem. How did I solve that? I threatened to kick his ass. I didn't even have to beat him up physically. I just said, it's over with. I fought back. That solved that problem. How did I solve the trauma for being incarcerated for 10 years? I got out of jail. That solved that problem. I don't even hardly think, a lot of people, even though I was in that place for 10 years, I don't even hardly think about that no more, really. The people, their names, what they look like, I don't think about that no more. I don't trip about people talk about my black skin because I love my black skin. So I don't give a damn what you're talking about. That's your problem. My mother beat up my father. Well, that was a problem for me. I didn't like seeing that. But that was a long time ago. I was a baby. There's nothing I could do about it. I can't blame myself for what was going on. You have to learn how to heal yourself. Some of us can't. Some of us cannot do that, so we need to go see a therapist or whatever. But see, if you stop simmering on these things, you making your problem worse than what it really is. Because you simmer, and that's all you think about. Your hurt and your pain. And you know, I'm going to tell you, some of us also are attention seekers. We want to tell people what happened to us so somebody can say, oh, poor little baby, I feel so sorry for you. And you attention seeker. I'm not looking for attention. I don't want your attention. And I'm an adult. That's why I got a brain. My brain told me how to solve my problem because my brain told me if you don't deal with this, you're going to go insane. You're going to go crazy. You're going to suffer paranoia. Everybody is after you. You can't trust nobody. You're always ducking and dodging. Don't you find yourself that way? Because you're simmering in your hurt. And since you are simmering in your hurt, you are pushing away people that could help you and make your life better. If I simmer in my trauma, I wouldn't even have nothing to do with you. If I allow myself to suffer in my trauma, I would have nothing to do with Brother Taalik or Sister Ingrid or Karen. I wouldn't even have a YouTube channel because I can't trust you. I can't trust you, Sister Ingrid.
That's right.
I can't trust you. I'm paranoid about everybody. Yeah. And it's the environment. That's the ultimate solution. It's changing our environment. I was talking to a relative that live in New York City, and we talking about sexual abuse. My relative called me and told me a few months ago that these people are so sick in New York City, these young men was raping old women in broad daylight. In broad daylight. Now, what you supposed to do about that? You can catch the men and throw them in jail, but while you put them in jail, because of this environment, you got another set that's coming up. How you gonna stop that? It's the environment that's breeding this abnormal, freakish behavior.
That's right.
Do you know, even myself, because of this environment, do you know, I'm almost 60 years old, but do you know there's somebody out there that might want to rape me? Do you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a possibility?
That's right. I do.
Because this is I understand this is the environment. And I don't have to go to jail, y'all. I don't have to go to jail.
Come on.
You think I got to go to jail to get raped by men? Let me tell you something else. Women rape too. I was almost raped by a woman one time. If I wasn't stronger than her, she would have raped me. And the reason why she wanted me so bad, because I told her I was a virgin. And she wanted to be my first.
Now, see, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, because she wanted to be my first. And I said no. And she started just grabbing me and pulling on my clothes. If I wasn't stronger than her, she would have raped me. It's simple as that. There was a brother, I'm going to say this, I'm going to turn the mic over to our sister Ingrid. There was a brother in the Nation of Islam. His biological brother was raped by some homosexual people. And that made me feel funny about, gay people after that happened. But I had to try to separate that crime and the people here. They didn't do that. And see, that's another thing. When we get all involved in our trauma, then we want to blame people that's trying to help us and love us. We put them in the same category as those who cause us harm. And you hurting yourself. And you hurting those who could love you, those who care about you. You push that which could help you away from yourself. And you make it the whole thing worse. So I learned not to simmer in those things and try to control my feelings, because being bullied, that still affects me to this day. Being incarcerated, these women trying to play me for my money and use me, that affects me to this day. It would be easy for me to join the manosphere and talk about, well, black women do this and the black women, but I don't do that. But if I listen to my hurt and my pain, my trauma, I could easily join Tommy Sotomayor. Matter of fact, I would probably be worse than these guys. But see, I had to learn how to heal myself. Because see, that's why you have a brain. Allow your brain to help you heal yourself. We don't use our brain. We succumb to emotions. And so emotion blocks out reasonable, logical thinking when you become emotional. And then you find yourself in a worse place than you would have been. So I'm not going to downplay nobody's trauma, because I'm a victim of trauma myself. But I'm looking for a solution to end it. If not for myself in my lifetime, at least I can take actions so that future generations don't have to go through what I went through. And either you change it here, or you got to find some kind of way to change this environment. And right now, since you don't control a damn thing, how you going to change the environment? So that means you're going to constantly be a victim. That's why the Mississippi campaign is important, to give us an opportunity, to give us a start, a genesis, where we can begin to change our environment, take control of our destiny once and for all. And with that said, I'm turning this mic over to our sister, Ingrid.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, brother. You first started off by saying how people were accusing you of things. Now, I might have been out of the loop when you were accused of downplaying sexual violations against women and children. And I had a question as to how you were doing that. Like, what did you do or say to make it seem as if you were downplaying a sexual violation of women and children?
Because I don't talk about, I don't make a consistent, on my channel, I guess, I don't consistently talk about that topic, I guess, whatever. I guess.
That's not actually considered as downplaying.
Right.
Downplaying something is talking about it and then making like it ain't nothing.
Right.
So if you didn't do that,
no,
then you really didn't downplay anything.
And also I said, not to cut you off, they did not like that my simple solution was changing the environment. It takes more than just change the environment. That's what they say. It takes more than change the environment. And I'm like, well, what is the solution then?
Right, and really, that's the solution. You do have to change your environment.
Yeah.
I was just talking about a subject like this, matter of fact, yesterday, about how people are not talking about what goes on in our community as far as this sexual violation of the women and the children are concerned. A lot of it to me has to do with nobody wants to really tell the truth to where this stuff gets started. And it's not a pretty subject, and people tend to shy away from it. But a lot of times when women are making families, having children, or just being involved in the family themselves, your parent, your mother, your aunt, your grandmother, these women, cousins, aunts, can expose you to this, to where that they're making you a victim because they're not being careful about what your environment is consisting of. It has everything are
Right.
these people that are coming around your environment? Women, they are so lackadaisical, wanting a man, trying to find a man, and bringing these people in, and not even paying attention that this could be a potential threat to not only your children, but to you as well. I don't believe that you did downplay the sexual violation of women and children. Even though I wasn't a part of the conversation, I just don't believe that, because like you said earlier, people who have suffered trauma themselves, they don't make fun of other people's trauma or downplay other people's trauma. Trauma is trauma. Okay? If you've been sexually violated or put in a position, as you spoke of earlier, where you had to watch your dad attack your mom, you know, you were afraid, you were terrified, you didn't know what was going to happen. That's trauma.
Yes.
That's the same thing. Just because somebody didn't stick a penis in you, it doesn't mean that you weren't traumatized. Trauma, it is trauma. All of us have suffered trauma. We continue to suffer it. But I have to agree that if we don't change our circumstances surrounding our environment, we will simmer in these traumas.
Yes.
That we suffer. I believe that. And people, you know, wanting to seek therapy, or, you know, they want to hear the pretty talk or the feel good that you mentioned earlier. That's a personal preference. Like, if that's what they want to do and they feel that that's going to make them better, then I'm not against that.
Right.
But personally, I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to, because see, I am more into learning how to heal yourself. Counseling, I look at it in different ways, because the pink people, they have somehow monopolized that, you know, genre of science. So it's all based on their thoughts and what their research and all of this is. I used to study psychology. And all the schools of thought are from pink people.
Right.
So when I look at it and I say, just like, you know, we talked about policemen when they're white opposed to black, how they're in their system, so they really can't protect you, or they don't want to because they want to stay in with that system. I feel the same way about that counseling. Just like that 12-step stuff. It's all generated around money. Are they really counseling you? Do they really care about your trauma? Because they don't add anything. They just sit there and jot stuff down on paper. And really, while you're in counseling, you're just talking to someone who really, only thing they say back to you is, how did that make you feel? And when did you learn that? And when you learned that, what did you do? They don't give you things they don't, like, counsel you,
right,
in my opinion. They may give you homework, exercises, and say, I want you to read these 3 sentences and then write out, you know, a paragraph of what you felt like that meant to you. That's not them help. You can do that your damn self.
For real.
Without pain. Because counseling costs a lot of money. You know. So when you've been traumatized as a child, and now you are an adult, and if you can articulate to yourself, damn, I'm all messed up. I've been traumatized. This happened to me, this happened to me, that happened to me. If you have enough intelligence to do that, I do believe you could sort your own trauma out. Just like you did.
Yes.
Just like you did. When you you know, first had your first trauma with your mom and your dad, then, you know, the second trauma of her traumatizing you by accusing you for your skin color, and then, you know, being bullied in school, and then being locked up for something that you didn't even fucking do.
Right.
There's no other, to me, greater trauma than that. Because that's somebody taking your dignity, your freedom,
Yeah.
your identity.
Yes.
You just a number now.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Now they done, you know, demoted you to a nigga.
That's right.
Okay? And like you said, you worked it out on your own. Because you are an intellectual being.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people a lot of times, they don't like to hear the truth.
Mm.
They don't. It doesn't make them feel good. When you said, and I'm pretty sure you're going to take a lot of slack for that they seek attention because they want to tell their trauma story over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
People, I could just hear them. You know? But really, that's the truth. Because if that really traumatized you, you will get tired of telling that shit over and over again, because really that's just being traumatized over and over.
Right.
Now you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
Now you're traumatizing yourself.
Mm.
It's the same principle to me when somebody say, that's my past, that's the past, that's the past. But they constantly talking about that shit. How's it the past?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this, you're bringing this back yourself.
Absolutely.
We've all been traumatized. We was traumatized before we were born, like myself.
Right. That's right.
I was in my mama's belly when the riots were breaking out, when the police was beating them, when they were being called niggers and people throwing bottles with fire in it and all kind of shit, and terrorizing my parents before I was ever here. You don't think that had an effect on me, the environment that I had to be in utero around? I didn't know that until I grew up and started educating myself. And because, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a very violent individual. And I never could understand why, because I had all the love in the world. I was pampered. We had a good upbringing. So why am I so violent? And that was why. Because of what I suffered in utero while my mom was, nurturing me to give birth to me because of her environment. All that violence that I was being around. Because after that, growing up in the 60s, it just perpetuated it. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Having to hear all these things, that have happened to us and that are constantly happening to us as I was growing up in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that caused me trauma?
Absolutely.
We all have trauma. There's predators in all of our families. We don't have to keep perpetuating that. We need to, like you said, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Do something to change this so that the future generation won't know anything about this filth.
Right.
That we had to suffer through and that we go through and live through every day. Being from our community. I would never even say anything like that if there wasn't a concrete proof that you downplayed sexual violation against women. If it's not a conversation, you can't possibly have done that. Whoever the person is, and I don't know because you didn't say any names, and like I said, I wasn't in the loop of this conversation. So whoever the person is, maybe they should have tried to, if this is a part of their life and it's something that bothers them, they should have maybe tried to start a dialogue about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's with you and asking, hey, let's discuss this. I think this is important. I think it's of great relevance because, you know, and then getting it out there this way instead of trying to lay blame and say, oh, you're not in support of me or in support of victims because you just making out like this ain't nothing. I don't believe that. It's some people who do that, but they verbally do it.
Right.
They'll say, oh, fuck that you was molested when you was there. Say it.
That's right.
They don't downplay. They outright denying and denouncing and say they don't give a damn about your sexual abuse.
Right. So like what you telling me for?
Yeah. Boy, that shit happened to me. Did nobody do shit for me.
Mm-hmm.
They'll point blank, you know, make you feel like you a piece of shit for even bringing it up.
Right. I don't have a problem with that. Matter of fact, the conversation that kicked all this off was on my channel. It was on my channel. They was talking about it, and they was getting upset because I really wasn't saying nothing. Well, first of all, the main topic wasn't even that; it was something else, and I had given the airtime to somebody else. That's their platform. It's not about me. So I wanted them to be used to doing their presentation. You don't need me like that. And I told them, if you ask them, I told them basically I was going to be quiet. I wanted them to do their thing. It wasn't even my intent. I mean, why give the time to somebody else and I run in my mouth?
Right.
That's their time. And that's why I see, if it was my time, we wouldn't even been talking on the subject, because I like whatever the subject is, that's what we're going to talk about. And now if you want to talk about that later on, that'll be the subject we talk about it. I don't like, switching topics like that.
Right.
But that wasn't my platform. That was somebody else that I wanted for them to do their thing. And so, you talk about whatever they want to talk about. And I'm just listening because it's on my broadcast. But we all suffer trauma. And I don't know, some of us have experienced this. Do you know how it feels to go to jail? You ain't never been to jail before in your life. I don't know how these guys go back and forth like the way they do, but they do. But they pull your pants down and look up the crack of your backside. Sometimes they even stick their hands up in your anus. Now, how you think that makes somebody feel?
Like shit.
That's very humiliating. Matter of fact, just the fact that I got handcuffs on me and shackles. You think that was beautiful? That was a beautiful experience.
And the other fact that you got a disrobe in front of these
right.
crackers.
Yeah.
It ain't even got to bending over and sticking up and coughing. You gotta get naked in front of these people. That's humiliating in itself.
Yeah.
No, this motherfucker looking at you.
Right. And then like before you even get to that point, I think some people experience that holding cell. If they put you in that holding cell, you and all these other misfits.
That's right.
And there's only one toilet. You ain't going to no bathroom. They're expecting everybody to use that toilet and that sink in that holding cell.
Ew.
Yeah.
And derelict.
Yeah.
That means just you don't know what they'll do. You can't sleep. You better not take your ass to sleep.
For real.
So now you exhausted. And don't be in there for shit you didn't do.
Yeah.
Like they did me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was lucky. I was lucky that they didn't want to frame up a nigga. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, they lied on you. A cracker lied on me and said that I started a fire. And the cracker was mad because they was doing illegal. Okay, like you have landlord-tenant laws,
right?
And they weren't following those, and they decided, and I was within my rights to withhold rent because it was repairs needed done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they decided instead of doing the repairs that they were going to take me to court, but I got me an attorney, and the attorney won, and they were mad because they thought that I was going to get put out.
Mm-hmm.
So they were, and what they didn't know is that I was already moving. I had already found me a house in Bolingbrook somewhere, way away from the city that I lived in. I'm in the process of moving things out, but I didn't have to leave. So we still were coming in and out. And they were upset, and what did they do? They set fire to their own property. To blame that shit on me. So I guess they call themselves killing two birds with one stone. Get me out and get me in jail. But it didn't work.
Some dirty. We live in it goes back to the environment. This is expected in this environment, around this kind of thing, this mentality, this mindset.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I laid up in that place for 10 years. And don't you know, for 10 years, I really never got a good night's sleep because I know.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Because I know that at any time, somebody might, they mess around and, wake up and your damn throat might be sliced.
Please. That's what I mean. You incarcerated something that you didn't even do.
Yeah.
Even if you did do it, you exhausted.
Yeah.
Because you're in a place that you can't really let your guard down.
No, you can't.
You can't really rest.
No.
You can't fucking go to sleep like you at home with your mama or your wife somewhere. You can't. It's what they say. Go to sleep. You got 1 hour open.
Right.
1 eye closed. You ain't sleep. You just rest.
Yeah.
And with that comes exhaustion.
Yes.
And now that's been caused the problem because now your mind isn't working properly because you exhausted. It's real. People that haven't never been to jail, they don't get it.
No, they don't.
They don't. It's very traumatizing to be in jail. You in your jail cell, and mind you, we just gonna stick with the people that's in jail or went to jail for something that they did not do.
Right.
Now, mind you, you in your jail cell, you already mad, you smoking because you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
You upset because you wondering, thinking, how these motherfuckers did this shit to me, and they getting away with this shit, and they here, and you thinking all this shit, and all of a sudden you just hear somebody scream to the top of their lungs like they dying for dear death, trying to they just grasping for the last little bit of life, and it's because somebody in there raping them. You ain't never been experienced to nothing like that or exposed to nothing like that. Now you might be thinking, oh shit, who is that? What is that? How's that? Am I next?
Right.
When is they gonna try to come down here and do this shit? Do you understand what that's like? Do these people really understand what knowing or feeling like when is your turn coming is like?
Yeah.
On some negative shit. That's just like the slaves back in the day. They marching them off one by one, and the one behind the other one that was behind the other one, you worse than the one that they finished throw off the ship. Because your turn coming. They have right there at the head. They can't do shit. It's over with for them. But you back here, waiting waiting on your turn, knowing it's coming. You suffering the worst trauma than when you be up there gonna get through in the water to the shark.
Yeah.
Knowing that this, or thinking or believing that this trauma is coming, this bad experience is coming, this pain is coming. You know it's coming, or you think it's coming. That's trauma in itself. We suffer trauma constantly. We are the only people to be on the planet that have suffered this type of trauma, and we still doing it to this day.
Yeah. And the sad thing about it is, at one time, it basically came from, you know, the enemy. Now it comes from within. That's what makes it more hurtful.
Yeah.
You know, you got to worry. You know, Elijah Muhammad even taught his sisters, the MGT, do not let your husbands be alone with your daughters. That's what he taught his MGT. You never know. So he taught his followers, you know, the women, don't let your children be alone with their daddies. Don't do that. I lucked out because my mother, you know, I was with my mother all the time. It's very rare that I wasn't with my mother. But unfortunately, you have those, they have to go to work or whatever, and you leave your children with these strangers or whatever, and things can happen. Now, the worst thing of all is when your mama turn on you, because there are cases where mama raped her own children.
Yeah.
That you have cases of that too.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to simmer in my hurt, because if I simmer in my hurt, I won't even be able to do this YouTube video. If I simmer in my hurt and sit around and feel sorry for myself constantly, it's not going to work. I got to be able to function. I'm not going to, because if I allow that to happen, then the one that caused me trauma, they win. They win. I'm not going to let them be winners like that. I'm stronger than that. I'm smarter than that. I'm alive. You can do that to somebody that's dead. I'm alive. And when you're alive, that means I'm going to survive. I'm a survivor.
Exactly.
Yeah, and see, that's not gonna go away. The bullying and all my experiences, whatever, that's not gonna go away. But I've learned how to put it in context, and instead of allowing it to control me, I control it. You don't control me. You ain't strong enough. And I wouldn't downplay that. Now, if we want to have more conversations about that particular subject, I don't have no problem with that.
Right.
But I would like for you, I want you to lead the conversation.
It's right, but I was saying, what I was gonna say, if you would have rejected that,
yeah,
and you couldn't, then maybe I could have said, yeah, maybe you are trying to downplay it because you don't want to, or you talking down about it or bad about it in some type of way. But if you haven't tried to initiate that by saying, hey, let's talk about this. This is something that I feel affects people, because it was something that I feel affects people. I mean, it's kind of like on the same level, but it's different because my argument is that these women allow this to happen.
Yeah.
They're bringing these men into their lives when they have children that can't defend themselves. They don't understand that majority of these men is getting with them just because they have children. They don't want your ass.
For real.
They want to victimize your child. That's what they there for. They skinning and grinning in your face, and you just you want to be loved, and you want you some sex, what you got going on, that you're ignoring the fact that really your children are in danger.
Absolutely.
Your nieces, your nephews. They don't just take little girls' sex. They take little boys.
Sure do.
You are exposing them to these predatory men Because that's what they are. They're not trying to marry you.
Right.
They're not investing in you. But they always want to play with your son. They want to play with your daughter. They don't know nothing about you or your kids.
Mm-hmm.
All they want to know where that nigga at. And he around. Oh, he don't do nothing for his kids. And so if that's the scenario, then they know that this is the perfect prey. The child's father is nowhere around, so nobody can be really looking at him with an iron eye. You get it?
Yeah.
Because you in La La Land, you in love, child. You can't see the moon for the stars, honey. So you're not going to see any signs. You're not going to see the red flags. You're ignoring them.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you need to be talking to about your sexual trauma, your mama, your auntie, your grandmama. Why did they allow these people around you? Did they know? Why didn't you know? Was you ever had maybe this happened to you, so you turned the blind eye? You need to go to the source of these problems. And I know 9 times out of 10, it's the female in your family. The female rules the roost. They do.
Mm-hmm.
The man going out gathering, hunting, and doing whatever he's doing.
Right.
And you're there to keep an eye on everything. Make sure everything's everything. So if anything fuck up, it's on you. It's on the female. It's on the woman. It really is. People don't want to hear that. They go, oh my gosh, are you? No. I mean, it's the truth. You don't like it because it don't feel good. Because it makes you have to be accountable. You don't want to take responsibility that it's your fault. You want to blame the people. You want to blame space. Islam. You want to blame everything. You want to blame except for bringing it back where it belongs. You must take accountability for exposing your children, your family that you're in charge of. I was looking at a video the other night. I think it was last night, and Sister Noble was saying that she had been attacked, and she was just a baby, like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And then the first thing came in my mind was, that's terrible, but where was her parents? Like, who is these fucking people that they left her with? And they didn't know that these filthy people were filthy people.
No, she didn't.
Because what do we do? Maybe they had to go to work. Maybe they didn't have nobody else. I don't know, but
that's what happened. Her mother had to work, and had to.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's how it happens in life.
Yeah.
But she still had the responsibility of finding appropriate care for her daughter. She failed her child. I have failed my children.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take accountability when you fail your children. You can't skip over that. Because then they are forever damaged. I don't know how old Sister Noble is, but this is an ongoing thing in her life, and it's still today bothering her. Because she's still talking about it. It hasn't been solved.
Yes. How do we solve things like that? And that's what I was asking. How do we solve,
I told you have to go back to the beginning of where the accountability started. And you have to tell the truth. See, that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to tell the whole truth. They want to do bits and pieces. You can't do that. That's like starting in the middle. That don't work. You have to start at the beginning to get to the end. And to understand what's happening in the end. You can't start in the middle. You done missed some shit. Okay? You have to go back to the accountability person. Who was accountable? Who was responsible for this? That's how you solve it. It always is going to have to do with self. Self is going to have to help yourself is going to have to heal. You have to do this yourself.
Yeah.
You have to tell the truth and say you're responsible for that. But I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I suffered. You have to. Or you will be continuing to re-traumatize yourself over and over.
Over and over. It never ends.
It won't. You have to end it. It's like a cycle. Only you can end it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I think some people are looking for the perpetrators or whatever to be punished. That's not going to happen.
Well, that's not true, because the perpetrators, see, you just don't know that they being punished. That's not the way that the universe works. That's not the way that karma works. If you hurt an innocent being, oh, you gonna pay for it. I might don't see it. I might don't get to hear about it, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I know that that's the truth. You don't know when it's going to happen. Oh, but it's going to happen. They don't get to get away with that shit. They don't.
Well, I there's a lot of slave owners that they lived a real good life for hundreds of years. They made slavery a lifestyle for 300 years, and they definitely had a good time. I don't see them getting hurt. I don't see them getting hurt.
They had a good time in and out. That ain't the truth neither, because they suffered carnage. They suffered all kinds of disease. They suffered their children being born with all kinds of deformities and being blind, retarded, and everything.
But the victims' children can suffer that too, be blind and retarded. And you as a victim, your children can be born retarded and messed up.
Just because you was a victim don't mean you ain't never been a victimizer.
That's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a lot of us who the blackity black is holy and righteous. And no. Just because, just like the sister said, just because you've been a victim don't mean you wasn't a victimizer. You know, Africa is not holy and righteous. Never has been. It's not. They fighting and having wars right now against each other and whatever. Been going on for I don't know how long. There's no history that I know of that you can prove of some utopia where everybody's holy and righteous and la-di-da. That ain't never happened among people. Matter of fact, it's just not, that's not natural behavior, period, because even in nature, you know, animals fight over territory and blah, blah, blah. But what you see, what you see in the human being is over exaggerated. It's not over resources. It's because of greed and want to hoard wealth and resources. It's unnatural.
Right.
And animals don't own nothing. See, you keep talking about ownership. Nature, animals only use what they need to survive. They ain't talking about owning nothing. They don't leave generational wealth to their next generation. They don't hoard things. Cause see, that's hoarding. People don't, you know, look, if I had a bunch of coffee cans in my house, I was hoarding coffee cans, they'll give me a mental illness. But if those coffee cans was gold and diamond, oh, that's good, that's great. But it's still hoarding.
Or if those coffee cans were filled with $100 bills, then that's great too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's hoarding.
You're right. I say that all the time about these people with $1 trillion.
Yeah.
$100 billion. You hoarding money.
Yeah, you're hoarding.
When human beings, real people out here suffering,
right.
Children messed up because of your environment that you created.
Yes.
And you want to just hoard your money. You don't say, oh, well, shit, we got all this money. Let's go down there and sprinkle some on these.
Right.
You know, you never do that.
Nope.
And because you have a sickness, you is a
hoarder.
You're mentally ill. You just got a lot of money.
Yeah. You're a hoarder. I wouldn't even feel right having way more than what I need. Yeah, I wouldn't even feel right. Like,
in the fucking world starving. Yeah. Seeing fucking people living under the bridge.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers in tents and shit. And you good though, because you ride around in your $500,000 car and you just looking at them. Oh, they need to exterminate these motherfuckers.
Right.
You know, that's how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't feel that way about you hoarding $1 trillion that you could just give away $1 billion, motherfucker, and still have more money than the law allows. But you a hoarder.
Yeah.
You mentally ill.
Yeah.
Okay. And you give less than 2 fucks about society. You just care about your money and your family. You don't care about society.
No.
You can take your money and help us research, you know, the goddamn problems of our generational race.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't even got to get that damn much. You can do that with a couple of million.
Right.
You won't even do that.
No.
You won't even help the people in the sciences to say, hey, fuck it, give them a community. Give them something that they can, you know, make themselves better. We're tired of seeing this bullshit.
Yes.
You don't do that. Knowing that you created our circumstance. The people that believe they was brung on me on ship, you created that circumstance.
Yeah.
The people who know that they already been here, you created that circumstance.
Yeah.
You create this shit. And we are constantly letting them control our minds,
right?
Our food source, our education source, our everything. We are allowing this shit. But we want to regurgitate trauma.
You can solve that when you take your destiny in your own hands. And see, it takes a lot of energy, and it's responsibility. We don't want that responsibility. We don't want to sacrifice. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to do what it takes in order to get that done. We just rather sit back and complain. Like when I was locked up, you know, I could sit back and complain, and you know, y'all doing me wrong, and God gonna punish you. Y'all could have been doing that for the next 20 years. They don't care about that. That don't change my condition. My condition, the only reason why my condition changed, I got on the ball and found and learned, figured out what it took to get out of that situation, took those steps, and I got out.
And that's just that simple.
It's simple. It's just that simple.
Just that simple.
It made me feel good, you know, complaining or whatever, you know, complaining and calling the white man the devil, you know, all that stuff. And they just laughed at me. Yeah, nigga, but you still locked up, so what? And they told me outright. They said, so what if we wrong? What you gonna do about it? This is what they told me in my face. They said, what if you right? So what? What you gonna do about it? You know something? I scratched my head and I stopped complaining or whatever, because at that time I'm like, ain't nothing I could do. What the sense, you know? I just went on and tried to live the best way I could until one day I was being able to start piecing this thing together, and I finally figured it out. But all that complaining and all that preaching and calling people names, you know, the white man's a devil. I used to call them Adolf Hitler's children, you know, stuff like that. They didn't care. They said, well, I'm Adolf Hitler's child, but guess what? This is the key. Open the door. I'll see you tomorrow. and you will be here. Those people were some rough customers, though. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to end this live stream. Ain't nothing of a good feeling when you flip the script and the ball comes on your court. Because when I start winning, woo, I gave them people hell. They were so happy to get rid of me. I was enjoying it. Hey, Sister Ingrid, I was filing lawsuits against against the cooks, the housekeepers, the security people, the staff. I was suing everybody I could think of. And they was like, that man suing me. And see, when you file crap against somebody, you got to answer, otherwise I automatically win.
That's right.
So I kept filing stuff. But what really got them, when I filed that restraining order on them. And see, a lot of these people, you know, they in cahoots with each other. These prosecutors and public defenders and judges, they all in cahoots with one another. But that judge, and he was a Caucasian judge. What was his name? Grayson Thomas. I forgot what his name was. But he read my and I got it on my Facebook, the paperwork. He said, if what this man is saying is true, he feels appalled. He told them that. He feel appalled. He said, he basically told them at this time, I'm going to let this slide. But if this man motions the court with another restraining order, this will be investigated. You ought to see them shaking in their pants. One lady quit. She said, I'm done. And she moved out of the state. Yep, she moved out of state. She moved all the way to Oregon. She moved from Missouri to Oregon. And you do know that when you file things against these doctors or police officers or whatever they are, that's a part of public record. And if they ever are sued or whatever, all that comes out. They say, well, in 19 such and such, this guy was suing you over this, blah, blah, blah. That can be used against them.
Right.
And she didn't want to go through all that crap no more. She got the hell out of it. She said, they don't pay me enough to go through this. It was a beautiful, and that's why I keep telling you, when you start winning, this thing will be so beautiful to you. You'll be like, they'll be like, man, we could have done this a long time ago. Man, we could have done this a long time ago. But it is what it is. We're going to work with what we got. Better late than never.
That's right. You can't let them stop you just because they don't want to do nothing. They happy with their slave mentality.
Yeah. So we're going to keep working. Like I say, I sent a letter to the brother in Jackson, Mississippi, the mayor. And I sent a letter to this one brother that's doing some big thing. He's a young man. I think he's only 21 years old. Sent a letter to him. I've been sending letters and things out to different people and see what, see if they want to get on board the soul train, see if they want to help, or maybe we can somehow help them. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah. I like to win. I don't know about these people. I like to win. I don't like to lose.
Only losers like to lose. I mean.
Yeah. I don't like that.
I don't even like losers. I hate a loser.
Yeah, I don't like to lose. And so, when I was locked up in that mental facility, that was a constant fight because they had the advantage. It's not like I just sit back, oh, well, I'm a loser. I can't do nothing. I didn't know how to win. I didn't know the game. I didn't know how to play. I had no weapons. I couldn't fight back. They got me.
That's right.
But once I was able to get just a little taste of power, see, that's what I'm telling these folks. Once I got a little taste of power, I didn't have a whole lot of power. I just had a little taste. It changed the whole situation. That's why I'm talking to you right now. Because I got just a little taste. They wouldn't let me file that $10 million lawsuit, get that money in my hand, but that's all right. I still was able to get out of their clutches because they told me I was going to die in there.
Wow.
They pointed to my grave, which I wouldn't, even if I died in there. They don't bury people in their grave, but they got a cemetery on the lot there.
Right.
You're gonna die here. I don't think so. And it was times when things was looking really, really bad. But I just kept pushing. And finally, it broke. But on that note, I just want to say that I do not and would never downplay nobody's hurt and pain and trauma. I've been through it a lot myself. And guess what? It has not stopped.
It don't stop.
It has not stopped.
It don't stop. It's still going on right now.
Right. Now, I talk about what I want to talk about, what I feel comfortable with. If you want to talk about these subjects or any other subject in relation to our struggle, to our problems here, I don't have no problem with it. I invite people to speak. Unlike they do me. Very few people want me to come on that platform and talk. But people can come here and talk about those things. I might add my 2 cents in or whatever. But we can talk about those things. I have no problem with that. I don't downplay nobody's hurt. We as a people suffer from trauma and hurt. Going on 500 years.
And nobody wants to see a child suffer.
No.
Like this happens to children. This is nothing to downplay.
Yeah.
Anybody that got a niece, a nephew, a child of their own, friends with children, you don't want to see them raped or fondled or any type of violation against their bodies. As a child, they have no cognizance to say, what is this? This is wrong, or I don't want this, Nobody in their right mind would downplay that.
Absolutely.
So you need to start a dialogue.
Yeah.
Maybe, the person can come on your show and talk about, that because it happened. It happened. But to me, it's just not about regurgitating trauma. It's about, hey, what are we going to do to make sure this is not happening now to children and young women and young men? Because these boys, everybody, they ignore them like they don't get raped and molested by men.
Right.
They do. And we need to find ways to organize that discussion about as to how to protect these children, young adults. It happened to us, and we should know all the signs and symptoms. We should be able to see all the red flags.
But I tell you, the ultimate solution, like I said again, is you have to change the environment. You have to get out of this.
And you cannot deny that.
Yeah, you have to get out of this. Because as long, it's just like if you put chickens among foxes, as long as those chickens is among foxes, you got to expect some of those foxes to eat the chicken sometime. They're going to do that. Because foxes eat chicken. Now, when you take them out of that environment, away from the foxes, now you don't have to worry about it like that no more. We live in a society of predators. You live in a society that causes people to be mentally ill, sick in the mind.
That's right.
They always pushing sex garbage in our faces all the time. Some naked woman's ass is in our face all the time with a piece of plastic through her asshole. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, we always got some naked woman in our face. These images, filthy talk. We got that constantly. And then we got people constantly abusing people. We got grown folks abusing children constantly. And then as they grow up, they think that's normal. And you got children that abuse children.
Yeah.
Children abuse children.
That's right.
You have children that murder children.
That's the truth. The instance of that just happened.
Yeah.
17 years old doing a murder. 15 years old doing a murder.
Yeah.
12 years old done a murder.
Yeah.
Little children molesting their siblings, going in their bedrooms at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, they do.
It was a young black girl, some young like 12, 13-year-old boy, they gang raped her.
Wow.
these children. How do we stop it? With therapy? No, you can't stop it.
No, you can't stop it with no therapy. You can't stop it. Like you said, what you have to do is change the environment.
That's the only way.
Or change the conditions inside the environment will automatically change the environment.
Right. Change the conditions. But we don't have no power to do anything. So the only thing we can be is a victim, is somebody waiting to be a victim. That's all we can be.
But we keep conditioning our brains to say we don't have any power.
Mm-hmm.
If we constantly say that, we'll never have power. You know, what we have to say is they believe we don't have any power. We have power. We do. You have power. You can put your power with my power, and put me and your power with Tariq's power. A lot of us, we have power.
Yeah.
They don't believe we have power.
Mm-hmm.
We can't tell ourselves we don't have power.
Mm-hmm.
When we do, and you know we do. But we don't know how to use it or gather it all up that is usable.
Mm-hmm.
We're not powerless.
No.
You want to believe you powerless? I'm not powerless. We can't. We have to undo those thoughts and try to come up with a new phrase to make people, you know, understand that they do have the power. Maybe that's the fucking problem. Everybody thinks they don't got no power. Maybe that's why they slow to move, because they don't believe that they have power to do these things.
Yeah.
When they do.
Mm-hmm.
To brag about your house you ran to Mississippi and got, or ran over here and got, to brag about your this and that and your money and this. What are you talking about? You don't have no power. There's plenty of power.
It takes unity. And it takes the ability to be able to compromise and talk with other people in order to get. It's not about liking nobody. It's about what do you want. You don't have to. I don't have to like you. But if we want the same thing, like an apple in the tree, well, man, I want that apple, Sister Ingrid. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, but how we gonna get it?
That's the thing about our kin people.
Mm-hmm.
They're self-saboteurs. Because that's the thing. You don't like me. You don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
But you like some pink people.
Mm.
You like them though, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You like how they make you come to work and punch in and be up your ass. Huh? You like them though. You like that white man though. Run up all up in their face though, but you don't like me.
Right.
And you don't even have a reason not to like me.
Mm-mm.
I'm helping you be prosperous, but you don't like me. I don't dislike you, but you over there loving up to a motherfucker that hates your ass.
Yeah, the brother.
Peanuts to break your back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say you. But you like them though.
Yeah, the brother that called Mississippi campaign a pipe dream, he's supposed to be a Pan-African, and went to his Facebook at Christmas time. He's a Pan-African and he's dressed up like Santa Claus. Do you see that video? He's a Pan-African, and he got the silhouette of Africa on the Christmas balls. You know, he dressed up like Santa Claus. I'm like, what Pan-Africans are you? What? I never seen a Pan-African behave that way.
He confused.
Yeah, he's very confused, and he blocked me from his Facebook, so I could still see. You know, all that I do is go from another channel. I can still see what he put. But you are angry at me because I don't want to be an African, a Pan-African. But here you are dressed up as like Santa Claus.
But that's what I'm talking about. You cutting off your hands to spite your fucking elbow.
Yeah.
That makes 9 kinds of nonsense.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any at all. Why do you care about what this man want to be or don't want to be?
Mm-hmm.
That's not helping our condition.
Right.
That's not changing a damn thing.
No, it's not.
What this man or this woman or you want to do and be, that's your personal agenda.
Right.
This ain't no personal agenda. We're not working from that kid.
Right.
You're putting the personal stuff behind. We're talking about being liberated.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with being a fucking Pan-Africanist, Zimbabweans, whatever. What all the shit, all the gets, they have nothing to do with it.
And the thing about it is, once you take care of the number one priority, which is to liberate yourself, you can do, I mean, you don't have to like me. You can go do your thing or whatever. It don't make any difference. But I believe that because we go through this struggle, you'll find out that.
How can you dislike somebody who gained you your freedom?
Right.
Who helped liberate you? What do you mean? This doesn't even make sense.
But that's how.
You want to come like that to us. Like,
that's how they think.
Yeah, that's because we said earlier, a lot of us that are mentally ill.
Yeah. You're not thinking clearly. You think about emotion, and a lot of them are influenced by some of these teachings and whatever. That they're not in their right state of mind. They're not looking at things from a realistic point of view.
I believe that.
But yes, sister, you can go ahead and give your conclusion, your ending statements, if you per se. And if you don't have anything, we can end the live stream. But if you want to say something real quick before we end it, go ahead.
I want to reiterate that maybe you can get in contact with that person and possibly invite a discussion. You know, try to mend that misunderstanding, because again, I don't believe you did that. Downplayed anybody else's trauma. I would never do that. I would never associate with anybody that would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else? I also want to say that we need to look more into learning how to heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We do. Okay? And we also have to learn how to stay out of the cesspool of the filth. We do. You know, and to go back to the very thing, first thing you say, we must change our environment, and we must work towards solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Stop regurgitating and perpetuating. We must, when we have a topic, when we have an issue, we must concentrate and focus on, okay, so that's that, but what is the solution?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like you spoke on earlier, it's about the generations coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
We must begin to warn the children. We must begin to be more protective of them by sticking to the mindset of changing their environment to make it better for them.
Mm-hmm.
For the future. And I know and I feel like the way to all of that is Mississippi Exodus campaign. We must support it. We must get on that train.
Woo-woo!
We must do it. And we must concentrate on self-development.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. Very important. Okay? I know you said you don't go a lot to books a lot, but some people need books.
Yes.
They need to stay educated.
Mm-hmm.
They need to challenge themselves on what they think they know, opposed to really what's real and what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Out here. Like, we don't know everything. And PhDs don't know everything. Okay? The ones of us that think we know, we still can take in some education and some lessons.
Yes,
we
ma'am.
Don't know everything. We don't. And we need to stay away from that me shit. Okay? For real, because we can't do this, I, me. It has to be collective. It has to be us. All of us. We have to figure out a way to get rid of all the personal BS and try to unify ourselves and come together with this program. So that being said, I'm going to end with that.
Yes, ma'am.
And let you close out with your last words.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I just appreciate your being here. I miss your voice. I miss your input. Because like I told you, I told the audience, and I've always said this, as long as I've been on YouTube, I don't know it all. I don't. Believe me, y'all might think I sound smart or whatever. I don't know it all. Not even close. But this thing here, I feel very confident in. I feel it's a strong foundation. It's the way to go. This thing we call Mississippi Campaign. You're not going to miss. You're not going to miss.
Okay.
And this is the 3rd anniversary. I wonder where we could be at had we jumped on board the Soul Train and really worked for 3 years, where we would be right now.
Yeah, me too.
You know, but I see where we've been the last 3 years doing this other stuff.
Not too late, y'all. Y'all can still get it together. Come
Right.
on.
It's still not too late for us. I can see it's still not too late, but time waits for no one. You know, hey, it's not going to wait forever. You know, so, and this is the perfect environment. Right now, this is the perfect time, the perfect environment.
Yes, it is.
You know, everything is in place except our minds. I don't know where your minds is at. You know, we everywhere. But once you begin to focus, oh, woo, you just don't know, just like Sister Ingrid would say, you just don't know your power. You don't know your value, what you're scared of.
That's right.
If you're a god and the goddess and kings and queens, you can't take control of a little old state, Mississippi. You must not be these things you talk about. That should be nothing. Matter of fact, you talk you God and you the rulers of the universe and all this stuff, but you can't take control of a little baby state.
As a sanctuary for your own people.
Right. A safe haven, sanctuary state for us. Because ain't nobody else got our back, so we have to have our own back.
Right. They proven it.
Yeah.